right. Yay, we are live. I'm so excited to be on here today with someone that I consider to be very much a mentor and a friend. And, Kim, stands on her own, like what you've been able to accomplish. And I think I love, you have two great qualities that I love. That I pray for all the time is great confidence and great humility.
Oh.
And you've been able to do that well. So kudos, girl, to
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. Well, it's always fun talking with you, Jewel, and I so admire the work that you're doing, and you're supporting a lot of women and really making a difference in so many people's lives.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, I wanted us to come on here and talk because, obviously there are tons of changes and there's always tons of changes. I don't know if there's ever not been a time in history where there have been a ton of changes, but I do think that there is definitely a separation that's happening where we're seeing people, do very, very well. And you've said this for a long time, and you've seen people on the other side not do so well. And so I think we're at a time now, and I think, the conversation, of course, I know we probably have men on here too. We welcome all you guys for sure as well. But we wanted to kind of really target women because I think that there's just been this thing where it's like, I'm waiting for a man, or I'm waiting for the government, or I'm waiting for someone else to give me permission to go and succeed. And I think that is like the worst thing that any woman can do. You have to give your own self permission to succeed. You have to give yourself a yes. If somebody else says, I don't want to do that, you have to respect their no, but you have to respect your yes. And so, Kim, I want you to kind of talk to, and particularly, why is it so important? And what are you kind of seeing right now in the world? Why is it so important for women, and particularly to really, really get investment minded? Like, seriously.
Yeah, no, it's more important than ever now, Jewel. And, my message hasn't changed, but I think it's actually more important now than ever when you talk to, especially to women, because again, what are you waiting for? What in the world are you waiting for? You're going to be waiting until the time comes where you're not going to be able to support yourself because we've got inflation. You've got the dollar dropping in value tremendously. You've got taxes going up, interest rates on a roller coaster, AI. With AI coming, short term, there's probably going to be quite a lot of loss of jobs. I think long term, it's going to be an excellent thing that's going to be happening. It's going to be a game changer. But there's a lot happening whereby today you look at some of the statistics on savings rates. People are not saving, and you cannot, whereby in my parents' days, you could save your way to retirement. You had higher interest rates. You didn't have the inflation we have now. But today you cannot save your way to inflation or to retirement. You have got to get in the game of investing. I started very small, as did you, as did actually every single person I know who has made money in the world of investing and sustained it is the key. Keep it. That they've started small and they've just grown. So one thing I want to say to the women here is it's not, and this was an epiphany for me many, many years ago. It's not about what you earned. It's not about the money you earn. It's what you own. It's what you own that matters, not what you earn. So I used to think, I'll just have this high paying job and I'll just work my way up the corporate ladder and all of this. No, you're not going to get there that way. So it's taking that money that you're working so hard for and then investing it responsibly, investing it in ways, taking small steps, very small steps to start, and then just keep growing it. I had a friend of mine who was on this bent that you had to start big. Well, she did, and she didn't do so well because she didn't have the education. And what you give women, Jewel, is you give them the education. And as do I. That's what it's all about. You've got to get educated and get in the game with a little bit of money, take small steps.
That is so good, girl. I love that you said it's not just what you get, it's what you can sustain.
Right.
Because it comes with a responsibility. So you can't just think, I'm about to go and get, 10 doors, 100 doors, 1,000 doors, whatever. and it's not coming with responsibility. And I think the part that I like about, hey, start kind of where you are and grow from there, to your point, it gives you the education that you need along the way, whether it's contacts at the city to get the demolition done across the street from your house, or relationships with title companies, because so much of success, I feel like, is based on relationships,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Making sure you have the right relationships, because you're going to get to a point where it's like, oh, I don't know what to do here, but let me call this person. I know they'll know what to do. You have to really get proficient at problem solving, not breaking down mentally and emotionally when you run into a problem. That's all a part of it, but just knowing it's always a solution. So can you talk about a little bit just the mental and the emotional intelligence and toughness that's really required to be successful?
Yeah. I just watched a great piece on resiliency. And resiliency is the ability to come back from a setback. How resilient are you? And if you don't have a good deal of resiliency, I'm just going to be very blunt. You're not going to be successful. You've got to be resilient. So that's why I like to take small steps. When I started a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, $5,000. But if I make the mistakes, and I made a lot of mistakes, it's not going to wipe me out. It's not going to, it might be a small setback, but I can always come back from a small setback. It's hard to come back when you've lost $1 million.
Yeah.
So resiliency is everything. And to your point earlier, Jewel, investing really is a team sport. You need a good, now, when I started, it was just me and Robert. We didn't have a team. And when you start out, when you're just starting, you probably won't have a team. But to your point, as you're going down your path, you're going to find the attorney that you need, the tax strategist that you need, the banker that you need, the service people that you need to make this happen. So today I can find a property. Actually, I'm in a 1031 exchange right now looking for property. And I can find a property that is in trouble, that needs work, that's a problem property, because now I have the team that can go in and fix it. Starting out, I didn't have that. But exactly to your point, as you grow, that team is going to build with you. And you're going to find, as you get bigger and more successful, you're going to need smarter and smarter people on your team. Yeah. I was just listening to, I don't know if you know George Gammon. I call him a macro economist. He's self-taught, very, very smart guy. And he was talking about, he was at a dinner just recently, and we've said this a lot, and talking about, why you surround yourself with really smart people. And if you go and you want to be the smartest person in every room you go into, you're never going to make it. I would be nowhere where I am today if it were not for the people that I surrounded myself with. Absolutely.
So good. So, and you said that the higher you go, you're really going to need smarter people.
Correct. Yeah. The accountant I have now is not the accountant I had when I started out. The tax strategist is not the same tax strategist. The attorney, the corporate attorney, the people that set up your LLCs and your entity structures, all of that. And don't think you have to have that team to start. And that to what you were saying earlier about waiting, don't wait until you have your team. Don't wait until you have, $100,000. Don't wait for somebody else to come along and do it for you. It might happen, but I don't know what you're waiting for.
That is so good. Kim, I kind of feel like when I just keep going, when I just keep moving, everything that I need is going to just end up falling right into place. But if I'm waiting to hire this or waiting to hire the social media person, well, you know what? I know how to create content. I know how to do a reel. Yes, I want a social media person, but I'm not going to wait. And the thing that I love about being, a CEO, being an investor, is it puts a demand on your potential to continue to grow and learn.
Yep. So that is one of the principles. You've just nailed it. One of the principles that I live by and that I've grown by, which is you've got to be in motion. You've got to have that goal. Okay. So I know you're very goal oriented and you have a lot of goals. That goal, let's say it's to buy your first property. That goal puts you in motion. You've got to be in motion. Einstein said nothing happens until something moves. You've got to be in motion, because if you're not in motion, you're not going to generate anything happening around you. Nothing will happen. But here's the thing is, you have your goal, you're moving towards your goal. The outcome, the final result may lie with universe, may lie with God. It may not look exactly the way you envisioned it to look, but as long as you have that goal and you're moving forward, that it will come to fruition. Does that make sense?
That total.
Yeah.
You have to be in motion.
You're not going to, if you don't go to that dinner party, you're not going to meet that person who's going to say, hey, I've got this deal, or I can finance this for you, or let me introduce you to somebody who's going to help you on your team. If you're not out there in motion, moving, making things happen, then you might as well just sit on the couch and nothing will happen.
And that's so good. So I have this mindset, and I know you do too, that I'm like, whatever I'm doing, even if I have to take an L, I'm going to figure out, if I can't win one way, I'm going to win another way. Like, in other words, I'm taking a win or a win.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think that mindset is so important, because the challenges, you have to expect challenges.
Yes.
It's not even real. It's like you're living in a fantasy. If you feel like, and I think some women in particularly grow up with this fairy tale fantasy, and it's like, no, that's not it. No. You have to anticipate challenges, and you have to anticipate, if I don't have the challenge in this moment, if I don't have the answer to the challenge in this moment, I am very close to the answer.
Yeah.
And I can keep calm. I don't have to go to, anxiety university. Mm-hmm. I can make a decision. I'm in control of my emotions, not my circumstances. I'm not saying this is easy, and I'm not saying things don't come, because they do. But ultimately, that is the mindset that I have to take on, because if I don't, you're not going to last long. Before you even start, you will self-sabotage.
Exactly. Jewel, the only way we learn is by making mistakes, by learning from our challenges, by learning from the setbacks. If we don't have challenges, we're not growing. If you don't have challenges, you're not making mistakes, then you're playing a very, very small game, and you're being very, very safe and very, very comfortable. You're not going to grow to be the magnificent person you are if you're not out there making mistakes, handling challenges, handling setbacks. And I have I think you and I have spoken about this before. There's a philosophy that I live my life by now, and it's to that point, and it's that nothing happens to you. Nothing happens to you. Everything happens for you. Everything, every single thing happens for you, and it's for your highest good. So now when I have a setback, something I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, and I don't really like that. I step back after I calm down. I step back and I'm like, okay, this is happening for me. For some reason, sometimes I know, sometimes I don't. This is happening for me. It's for my highest good, and it's going to make me a better person. It's going to grow. I'm going to grow out of this situation. And as long as I have that mindset, it's same as exactly what you're saying, you have a challenge and you're going to win. That win for me would be growth. I'm going to get smarter. I'm going to get better. But if I'm not facing challenges and mistakes every day, then I'm not growing. And I think that's my greatest fear, is that I stop growing. That's my greatest fear. Yeah.
Woo, girl. Okay, so now we have a lot that's happening in the world. Mm-hmm. Right? We're in the middle of a war. We have interest rates that have not gone down as though people have anticipated. We have higher food prices. We have higher gas prices, mm-hmm. oil prices, shipping. So clearly inflation is a very real thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But it does not mean that there is not huge opportunities to still move and grow.
Yeah.
I feel like the people that are going to win today have to be in winning communities. They have to make a decision about what their life is going to look like, not based on the White House or anything else, but you got to make some real decisions.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, how much longer do you think we even have for a middle class?
It's shrinking every day. Yeah. Yeah. And Yeah, you can't say it any better than you just said it. You've got to take responsibility for what it is you want. I've always lived by, yes, you've got to understand all of those factors are in play. Gas prices are going to affect a lot of things. Oil prices going up are going to affect almost every part of our life. However, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to go out there and go find a good real estate deal or go find a good business to invest in or go start a new business. I'm not waiting for the White House. I'm not waiting for legislation. I'm not waiting for somebody else to, oh, once the war is over, then I'll do this. No, there's going to be another war. There's going to be another situation. There's going to, whatever it is. I mean, look at COVID. COVID did not change my world. It changed the world, but it didn't change my individual world in terms of what I was doing, what I wanted to accomplish, my investments, my business. We just handle what comes at us, but you keep going. And again, that goes back to the resiliency that you were talking about. But no, I've never changed my decisions because of government and because of a certain policy that might come. You might have to deal with it. And of course you deal with it, but it doesn't change your big overall picture of what you want in life. Doesn't change your big goals that you have, your dreams, your aspirations. Those are up to you, and you've got to go out there and get them. And Jules, you know better than anybody. Nobody's going to give it to you.
No, like you got to make up in your mind that like, this is what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Gold and silver, I think you've been saving it a long time. I've been saving it a long time. The value of the dollar is going down. I think it's very important to stay consistent with those two, in particularly because of what's happening with the devaluation of the dollar. Will you talk a little bit about gold and silver? And I'm an avid proponent of people just saving it every single month. If you can, put it on some kind of program. And then, of course, they have the gold and silver that you can put in a SEP. Just wanted to know kind of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I am still buying gold and silver in it. And that's been an interesting story, too. I'm really delving into what's happening. And I don't have anything to report at this moment, but I will let you know as soon as I do, because that price has dropped tremendously. We've seen it go up to over 4,500. Now it's at about 4,000. But I'm still a proponent because there's two things that I'm doing. One is because the dollar is going down in value so rapidly. And, we have also this world of digital currency, and now they're talking about having governments with digital currency. So I'm very concerned about cash in the bank. It makes me nervous. I don't know what's going to happen with that. So I would rather hold it in gold and silver. People panic when the price of gold and silver come down, but gold and silver have always been there. They've always been a store value. So I continue to buy it. And something else too, when you're talking about investing, there's going to be a huge opportunity coming, but you don't have to wait until then because there's markets that have gone down tremendously. Look at the amount of money that is sitting on the sidelines because it's coming. That day's going to come. And if you're not prepared and you're not educated of what to do, which is why you want to start now, if you're not educated, you're going to miss that opportunity. It's going to be a huge opportunity to make a lot of money in the world of investing. So I'm buying gold and silver. I also just bought a property in Florida because I'd rather have my money instead of sitting in the bank. I'd rather have it sit in a property. This isn't even a rental property. This is just going to be a property that I use from time to time, but I feel more comfortable with my money being there than sitting in the bank.
Yeah. So good. So good. Real estate. What are some of your recommended picks for people? Single family, multifamily, residential, commercial? What's kind of your feel on those?
It depends on where you are in the cycle of your investing. If you're just starting, I would start very small. I'd start with a single family or a duplex, maybe a fourplex, maybe, but you're gonna make a lot of mistakes on that first property. I made a lot of mistakes on my first. I make mistakes on every property. But start really small because that's where you're going to get your learning. And I started investing in 1989, And that first investment that I had, that little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, I learned the fundamentals on that. I learned the fundamentals of investing. And now the properties are just bigger, more units, but the fundamentals are still the same. The numbers change, interest rates change, factors around the world change, but the fundamental formula remains the same. So if you start out, then I would start small. If you've invested and have some single family, then maybe move up to a 4-plex or a 6-plex, and just keep growing, because every time you take a bigger step and get a bigger property, you're going to learn more about the whole world of investing, and it's just going to make you smarter, and you're going to have more confidence going forward. Because when you start out, as I'm sure you did too, I had a lot of fear. And now it's like, okay, here's the next deal. I know what to do. And sure, things are going to go wrong. Things are going to happen. Things you're not going to be able to anticipate today. But yeah, that's, again, we go back to, that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you become the best you can be.
That's good. I know you're not necessarily a strong proponent of the stock market, but there's definitely opportunity in gas, in oil, and water with AI. Do you have any particular recommendations to invest in those?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I have been just playing a little bit with the stock market, just a little bit, because again, I want to learn. So I put a little. If you really want to learn something, you got to put a little money in the game, because even if I put $10, my interest level is going to go up. So I've been investing in energy, different energy. Look at all, to your point about water and all the AI, what's happening there, power, things like that. A little bit of tech. I'm learning a lot. I'm making a lot of mistakes. I'm losing some money, and it's but to me, I don't look at it as losing money. I look at paying for my education. But
I love that.
But the same thing, Jewel, that there's so many dollars sitting aside on the stock market. I mean, they're talking about a market crash coming shortly. We've been talking about it for years. We actually thought the market was going to crash in 2016, but we didn't anticipate that they would be printing all this money. That was something we didn't anticipate, that it would be at such a huge level. But there's a lot of opportunity out there. But you really, I've got a friend who is the researcher and kind of guiding me a bit on what to do and what not to do. That's been invaluable. So you can get involved with an educational group that can teach you about that, or to sign up with you all the time. Yeah, you'll learn a lot.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I have a couple ETFs that I really like, that we've been investing in every week. Some of the top ETF companies with medical and AI and real estate, and then of course, gold and silver every month, and of course then also real estate. But I like what you said. You keep interjecting. I made some mistakes. I made a mistake there. I made a mistake there. Like, I'm really glad that you're reiterating that, because I think that people think, when they think success, they think perfection, and that could not be further from the truth.
Yeah. I'll tell you a quick story. Robert and I were invited to Columbia University. A friend of ours was a professor there, and she was teaching entrepreneurship. So she had us come in, and we talked a lot about the mistakes we made along the way and how we learned from those mistakes, and we got smarter because of those mistakes. The next day, she was called into the dean's office and reprimanded. And the dean says to her, "You brought these people in, and all they did was talk about the mistakes they made." And she goes, "Yeah, that's how they learn. That's how they grow. We don't talk about mistakes at Columbia. We don't talk about mistakes." So my point is that we go through school learning not to make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you get reprimanded, you get an F, you get humiliated in front of the class, whatever it is. We are programmed to come out of school scared to death of making a mistake. And in reality, the only way we learn and grow is by making mistakes. Think about, to anyone listening here, what do you learn more from? The mistakes you made, the failures that you've had, or the successes that you've had? And I love my successes, yet I learn more from the mistakes. It's how the
That's
human being is designed to learn.
it's how we're designed to learn. It's how
Mhm.
we're designed to learn. And I think there's a lot to be said about learning and earning, right? Like you said, taking action, moving forward. Um, you wrote Rich Woman, and such a phenomenal book, such a phenomenal read. I love that book. I want to kind of turn the page a little bit. So I think hopefully everyone listening is now making a decision to invest, to grow, to multiply their money. I definitely have a concern for women, which is why we are very aligned here, where I feel like I'm concerned with women economically, where they are, because there's not enough attention put on them take being independently wealthy. Even if
Yeah.
you have a husband that's wealthy.
Yeah.
Ben does very well. I'm very grateful for that. But my own independent wealth is extremely important for me because that's what I control,
Yes.
right? I don't
Yes.
control per se what he has or what he wants to do or doesn't do per se. Maybe some as a wife, but at the end of the day, it's on me. So if I want to put my parents in a $500,000 house and he says
Right.
100,000, if I don't have the 500,000, then we just have to do what he wanted. So
Exactly.
when you talk about why it's so important, what are some of the things you've seen with women? Because economically, they end up in a very bad position if they don't get this mindset.
They absolutely. So whoever makes the money makes the rules. And I knew very early on, like my first job out of college, I wanted to be independent. I wanted to be financially independent. Even in college, I was financially independent from my parents. They wanted to send me money. I got a job because I wanted to make my own money. But what happens for a lot of women, it's why the statistics are what they are, Jewel. It's like, 50% of marriages end in divorce. And in a divorce, a woman's standard of living on average drops like 74%, where his goes up. His standard of living goes up, hers goes down. Worst case is, there's divorce, there's death of a spouse. How many times have we seen the husband passes away, she has no idea what to do with the money. She doesn't even know what she has. And then somebody comes along, oh, I'll help you as Mr. Financial Planner or Ms. Financial Planner. And next thing you know, she's broke. So even from that situation alone, you don't know what the future is going to hold. It's why divorces get so messy, is because if she doesn't have money, she wants to be taken care of, and he doesn't want to part with it. So I think the most important thing for a marriage to be even more successful is for both parties to understand money, to understand investing, to invest together, to grow their money together, which is what Robert and I did. And then when we did divorce, it was quite simple. I mean, divorce is never really simple, but we just split everything 50-50 because we made it together. And so sometimes the tricky part sometimes, Jewel, is that if a woman all of a sudden now wants to start investing and he makes all the money, that conversation can be a little dicey. Like, I really want to learn investing, and he might get like, well, what, don't you trust me with the money? And might get a little defensive. And so it's a little bit of a balancing act that you've got to do. But even if you don't have money, you can still start in the world of investing. You can start learning. You can go buy a 1-ounce silver coin that's going to cost you $16 today. Start there. Do something. Start learning. Start getting educated. And I'll tell you, when you pay that $16 and you have that silver coin, it will heighten your wanting to learn more about silver, then more about gold. If you start just out there looking at property, let's say you're going to look for a single family house that would be a good rental property. Well, what do you need to learn to do that? Well, you need to go to the different neighborhoods, find out where the rental neighborhoods are. I've invested in neighborhoods where they don't like renters. That was a big mistake. So it's got to be renter friendly. It's got to be in a place where there's jobs, because you need tenants. And if they don't have a job, you're not going to have a tenant. There's, the markets today, there's some markets that are quite down. Florida has quite a few areas that have fallen tremendously. But that doesn't necessarily mean just because the price of housing is down like it was in Detroit, doesn't necessarily mean at that moment it's a good buy. Because what if the market is down because there's a factory or a major business has moved out? Like what happens if Apple moves out of California, when Tesla moved out of California, that's a lot of jobs that were lost. Where did they go? They went to Texas. Well, Texas now has a lot more jobs. There's going to need more housing. There's actually a shortage. There's a shortage of apartments right now, a major shortage of apartments. So even if you don't have the money, you can start learning today. And as you're learning, then once you find something that you want, you're going to figure out a way to get the money, because it becomes real, right? It becomes real. It's like, there it is. I see it. I want it. Maybe then if you don't have the money, maybe you have a partner, or ideally, if you're married, you have your husband to say, hey, let's do this together. And trust me, I'm going to make mistakes, but I really think it's important for us, because again, you can't save your way to retirement. You've got to become an investor today. You have to. And as I said earlier, it's not about what you earn, it's about what you own. And if you don't own investments, if you don't own property, if you don't own whatever that investment is that interests you, if you don't own businesses, you're going to depend on savings. And how many people are depending on savings, Social Security? It's not getting them through today, especially with inflation and the value of the dollar going down and taxes going up. You're not going to be able to do it. So if you hear nothing at all today, just hear that today you must be an investor to secure a good financial future for yourself.
That is so, so, so good. You just gave a bunch of tea on deal evaluations, which you're looking for, by the way. Location, employment, factories, costs, those are all the things. Demand, if there's a demand, if there's not a demand. So you just gave a lot of great points on doing deal evaluations. One of the last things I want to ask you, you hear a lot about buying flips and then buying holds. Holds is really where you make the wealth. That's how you really build the wealth, because of the rental income.
Yes. So flipping houses, nothing wrong with that. It's just that if that's your only strategy, sometimes people will flip a house to get the funds to then get a rental property. But if you flip a house, then you've got to go find another house, and you do it and you flip and you got to find another house. I want to find an apartment building that makes sense. It's got to make financial sense. I like problem properties that we can buy it when it's undervalued. You increase the value of it by fixing it up, and by getting the occupancy high. And then that's where your passive income comes from. So today, passive income coming from all these properties. Yes, they need management, and yes, they need attention, definitely. But I don't have to keep going out there and finding another property and another property. It's stressing me right now that I'm in a 1031 exchange, and I'm like, I got to find a property.
I love it.
And it's a fun game. It is a fun game, but and I'm looking at different, you've got to look at different things. I invested with my friend Kenny. He's got a billboard company that he just started. And it's a real estate play. You're putting billboards on land, on property, and you're leasing out the billboard. It's just like a rental unit, right?
Kim McElroy?
Yeah.
Oh, I love
He's been my investment partner for many, many years. Smart, one of the smartest guys I know in real estate by far.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. And so I'm looking at all different possibilities.
Yeah.
But it's fun and it's interesting, because you just don't know what's going to come up. I think I mentioned before that I've invested in a timber property because I don't know anything about it. I love land with timber. So I'm learning about the timber industry. Matter of fact, as we talk right now, we're doing a thinning of the tree, some of these trees. So yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah.
I love it. So you're just on an adventure.
Life is an adventure.
Is it an adventure?
Well, you too. Hey, I've learned that from you. Life is an adventure, and you gotta make the most of it and have fun every day.
And have fun doing the deals. And I'm like you. Deals make me happy.
Yeah.
The victory, of course, but then also the social impact, the challenges. I literally was dealing with a challenge, a real estate challenge, the live early this morning with the team, but I enjoyed it, even though it was a challenge. It's like, okay, here's how we're gonna do it. What do you think? What do you think? The last thing I want to ask
Yeah.
you, your team building, because I know you
Yeah.
recently kind of restructured some things at Rich Dad Poor Dad. And what are some of the things? And you mentioned earlier, you got to have people around you that are smarter. What are some of the key components that if they're going to be on your team, this is how they got to move? Because there's a difference between getting someone that's just an employee,
Right.
right? Versus someone that's really going to add value because they have the same core values and the same vision. How did that restructure go? And what were some of the main things you were looking for?
The restructure went really well. I do have an incredible team. This is at Rich Dad. I'd have a different team for my investing. And I always have mentors. I have a business mentor. I have investment mentors. I have fitness mentors. I always have mentors. So it's really, really important. I think what's kept the team really strong is that we've always been mission driven. And it's when you think about a goal, there's goals and then there's missions. And if you have a big enough mission, then it's going to keep you going no matter what. When you have those setbacks, when you face those challenges and those obstacles, if our mission at Rich Dad is still from day one to elevate the financial well-being of humanity. That's been our mission from day one. We still have that mission today. So when we have a setback, we're like, okay, so there's a lot more people out there that need financial education. We need to keep going. And so we live by that. So sometimes their dream or their mission is too small. It's got to be like scare you. It's got to scare you. I mean, when we said what we said originally to elevate the financial well-being of humanity, we're like, whoa, that's quite a task. And who are we to think we can do that? But it's got to scare you a bit. And it's got to be big enough that when those setbacks happen, the money doesn't come, or the tenant isn't there, or the business deal goes wrong, that you're going to keep going. Because if your mission is too small, if your goal is too small, you're going to quit. You're going to quit. So you need a mission for your investing. What is the mission of your investing? My mission was to be financially independent and financially free by a certain time. And we did that. But my whole thing is freedom. I want to be free. Since I was a little girl, that has been my thing, to be free no matter what, not to have to depend on anybody, to have great people around me, and to have those relationships that are crucial, as you mentioned earlier. But I also don't want to have to be ruled by anybody or anything. So I think that was probably my biggest mission, was freedom.
That is so good. So good. You harped on a lot today. I really appreciate you, girl, coming on here. It's always so much fun. Always so much tea. Those of you, I want to encourage you guys to share this feed with someone, because as entrepreneurs and investors, you need this kind of confirmation, because maybe some of you were on the brink of maybe pulling back, or like she said, you plan too small. Like, what are we doing? If we're going to believe, let's believe big. What are we doing? And so I love so many things that you said, because there was a lot of confirmation, even for me, okay, yep, here, you can do it. And I also love that you said the team that I have for Rich Dad is different from the investment team. It's probably different from the home team. Like, you got to get proficient with having teams, really, if you're going to grow, like, for real, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, and I think this is the last point for real, but I was just thinking about this. A lot of entrepreneurs, they just want to do everything themselves.
Right.
They want to cook, they want to clean, they want to take the car, you got to hire people. You got to get okay with saying, I got to hire my weakness. Otherwise I cannot grow.
Right. And a lot of people who are in that role of doing everything as an entrepreneur is because, well, nobody can do it better than me. Well, you know what? Right now, that's probably true. And that's fine. Bring somebody on, let them make mistakes. Don't micromanage them. Give them the task, give them a job. We've just hired somebody new yesterday. It's like, here's the game. Here it is. And let's see what happens in the next 90 days. How are you going to do? Are you going to grow with it? Are you going to get excited by it? Are you going to cower if a problem happens? But yes, exactly that. Yeah. Yeah.
So
If
good.
you want to do it all yourself, then you're never going to get to be the business owner of what I think you're probably dreaming to be, because you just can't get there by yourself. I couldn't get, I'd be this big if I had to do it all myself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. So powerful. Listen, Kim, thanks, girl. I appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Jill.
Always a lot of fun. Everyone, thanks for tuning in today. Don't forget to share it. Everyone, go out, have an amazing weekend. Kim, we'll talk soon, girl.
I just want to say, everyone, to please keep listening to Jewel, and please keep studying with Jewel, because she's such a great, great mentor, a great teacher. I would not be anywhere where I am today without great mentors and teachers, and she is one of them. So please pay attention, study with her, learn from her.
Oh, thanks so much. All right, everybody, have a good day. Bye.
Bye.